What's good, everybody? Welcome back to episode number 9 of Gridiron Brawl. We are out last week. We're back this week, here to bring you back and here to bring you an action-packed episode. I'm already starting, man. I'm just so excited for this. But anyways, I'm your host, Sam. That's your host, Pat, over there. Pat, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Sam. First time coming on here with the Packers with my team losing this year. So first time having to come on here and face defeat. So I've been better, but you win some, you lose some. They're 4-1. Still hoping for a lot of bright future ahead. But yeah, how you doing? Big win for you guys with the Niners. Prime time.
We got back on track. I mean, I talked about that in my stream over at Niner Wire, my YouTube channel. We needed that win badly. So glad we got it. But hey, man, now you're feeling what I was feeling over the past 3 weeks, getting blown out by a team, in my opinion, that's worse than you. I mean, we got blown out by Miami. You got blown out by Tampa Bay, who, don't get me wrong, Tampa's a good team, but they're not at the Packers level right now. But anyways, guys, we're gonna break down all the games here, go through the progression as normal, go through the games, waiver wire, week 7 predictions, you name it. We'll also bring up some topics that have come out of the game, so it'll be very interesting to see on Gridiron Brawl episode 9, the best, the beast, and the least. I like that name. But all right, anyways, let's get right into it. So no Thursday night games. Let's start off with the overtime thriller in Tennessee, the Texans and the Titans. And I got to say, man, coaching. We've talked about coaching so much on the show. Romeo Crennel going for 2. I didn't understand that at all. Why not just take the extra point, get that 8 points ahead? I mean, I don't understand that at all. I don't know if he said anything about that, but I want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I'm sure this is going to be one of those things where they point to like the analytics said to go for 2, so if they have no shot at winning. But it's one of those things that you got to kick the extra point there where, in my opinion, because the Titans are good up front, they're not one of those defenses that they're going to easily give up a 2-point conversion. And I think that it forces them to go downfield in the back of their mind thinking we can do this whole entire drive, but we still have to go for 2. And I think that really would have put a lot of even more emphasis on their drive. I think I agree with you there. I think that was a bad decision by Romeo. But, it's interim coach. He won last week, but next week he's got the Packers, which I'm a little worried about, to be quite frank, because the Kansas City Chiefs, he was the coach way long ago. He was the interim coach when one of their coaches got fired a while ago, and he beat the Packers, and they were like winless, and it was a huge upset.
Yeah,
he was the
remember that.
Coach. So he has that same type of feel again. I believe Alex Smith was I don't think Alex Smith was the quarterback. I think he was hurt.
No, he wasn't. That was when he was on the Niners back then. Are you hearing me okay? I had a bit of technical difficulties with my mic at first.
Yeah, that was when he was on the Niners, and they had a random quarterback. I don't remember who it was. It was. It was like Castle. It could have been Castle or Brody Croyle.
It was one of those.
Yeah, like Kyle Orton, Brody Croyle, along those lines. But that's why it gets me a little worried. But what's your takeaways on this game before I go talk about the Tannehill and the Titans?
Yeah, man. I mean, Houston, gotta say, man, they've been struggling. I think O'Brien definitely was the factor of why they were struggling. I mean, when he got fired, I said on the show that I liked him as a head coach. Didn't like him as a GM, but it was time for him to move on. It showed. They beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. They almost beat the Titans. It was kind of a coaching mistake. They could have beaten them if they went for 1, but it's all good. But excuse me. Anyways, the Texans, I feel like they could get back on track. Playoffs, I feel like they're kind of out of that at this point. 1-5 start. That's never something that you want to see, especially if you're going for the playoffs. So yeah, man. I think the Texans are kind of off track at this point. But how about the Tennessee Titans, man? Undefeated. Ryan Tannehill balling out. Derrick Henry looking like one of the best backs in the league, as he should look like. And I mean, I don't know if I mentioned this on this show. It might have been on my show. But to all of the fantasy owners who I said to not draft Derrick Henry, I apologize for that. I said don't draft him because the O-line could get banged up, which it did. Let's be real. Taylor Lewan out for the season with a torn ACL, which is a huge blow. Isaiah Wilson, he's been struggling mentally. But Derrick Henry, man, he's going to keep putting up that thing. That's why, in my opinion, he's a top 3 back in this league. So Tennessee, man, killing it.
Yeah, I was saying a couple of weeks ago with Derrick Henry, he starts slow and you got to just wait that he breaks out. Joe Mixon was similar last year, but Henry's one of those guys. He has 100-yard games once week 8, usually around that territory once it gets colder out. But he had a huge run that was amazing, like a 92-yard, something like that, touchdown.
Oh my God.
But
yeah.
the thing with this Titans team is not people aren't giving them enough credit. All they do is win. Ryan Tannehill is 14-4 as a starter since he became a starter as a Tennessee Titans starter. He has 40 touchdowns and 10 interceptions since taking over, and that's in pretty much like 15 games now. So it's around that territory. He's got a full sample size as a starter now in the Tennessee, and those are great numbers. And all they're doing is winning because, people are looking at him last year, and he was a little bit more of a game manager at times last year. But when they need him to, get the play action going, throw the ball, they look really good, especially since A.J. Brown's out. Came back. He looks solid since coming back, and Corey Davis is coming back. They're going to have a nice 1-2 punch there. A guy I played against in high school football, Anthony Fursker, had a really nice game, 100 yards receiving. Yeah, he was a wide receiver. He was a town next to me in high school.
Where were you?
I was a receiver. I was a receiver.
Okay, I was about to say, if you were a cornerback, I would want to hear that story right away. But
yeah, I didn't play against him in defense, but I had a ton of friends that played with him, and everyone kind of thought that he could go to the league. And he played at Harvard as a fullback. He made the Jets a couple years ago, and he's just kind of been inching his way into the league. Titans was scored a touchdown last year in the playoffs against the Patriots, but Jonnu Smith got injured, and he might not be able to play. And Fursker is showing that he's one of the proven targets right now. I know Corey Davis is coming back, but if you really need a deep waiver wire pickup tight end wise, I think Fursker would be it. But I like what I see from this Titans team. Vrabel is, we keep alluding to talking about coaching. Vrabel is winning and out coaching other coaches right now, and has been. And I think he's done a phenomenal job since taking over there.
Absolutely. I mean, him and Brian Flores, those are the two really good Patriots assistants that have come out of New England and actually succeeded. So it's good to see that. I was Vrabel an assistant with them, or he played for
he just
Belichick?
played.
That's what
he just
thought.
played.
Yeah.
So, which it is interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, hey man, yeah, I mean it's looking good. Also, when you're talking about Fursker went to Harvard, you could say that's fullback university with Juszczyk and Fursker. So I mean, yeah, man, definitely good to see. But anyways, great win for the Titans. They're 5-0 right now, so they're
game against the Steelers coming up 5-0.
Yeah, absolutely. That should be a game to watch next week. I'll say it right now. I was the only one that had them winning the division. So
I had the Colts. Still have hope in them, but I had the Titans going to the playoffs. So I thought they were going to be like one game off. I like the Colts schedule better, but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's definitely fair. Speaking of the Colts, let's move on to them right now. A close game with the Bengals. Nice comeback from the Indianapolis Colts. And I got to say, this game I didn't pay too much attention to, but, I mean, it was a good comeback from the Colts. That's all I got to say. Phillip Rivers looked a bit better, but it's definitely like I said this going into the year. I said the Colts were going to be set back because of Phillip Rivers, and it is looking that way so far. Phillip Rivers, he's just like he's washed. I feel like his time's up. So, but anyways, a win is a win is a win for the Colts. So that's really all I got to say about this game.
I agree. I don't love what I see from Phil, but I do think that their offensive play calling and, how they've been going about offense has been pretty not great this year so far. I think they need to make it really simple for Phil. Jonathan Taylor is, people are saying he could be struggling or something. He's getting 5 yards every game of carry, and I don't think they're giving him enough touches a game, quite frankly. Like, he's getting around 12 to like 16 touches a game, couple catches, but he does solid work every time he, for the most part, when he's getting the ball. I think him and Naheem Hines, get them going they have a lot of different tight ends that are dynamic in their own ways. Burton, Doyle, and Mo Alley Cox when they're own healthy. They have, I don't know what's going on right now with T.Y. Hillen, and I think that has a lot to do with their passing game right now, because he hasn't had any production all season long. Their defense got shredded in the first half by Joe Burrow, and T. Higgins has been stepping up all season long. He's been very solid in a very, very solid rookie receiver class that's been been playing very impressive. So I like what I see from Burrow. I think the Colts need to improve, but it's good there that they came out with a victory because, it's an ugly one, but the win's a win.
You mentioned T. Higgins right there. That is one guy who I have heard little to nothing about dirt from the media, and it's kind of ridiculous because
you're right.
I mean, they're all focusing on guys like Justin Jefferson, Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb. I mean, CeeDee Lamb's kind of understandable. He's on the Cowboys, and in my opinion, he is still the best wide receiver out of this draft class so far. But I mean, with Lamb, Jefferson. I mean, I gotta say, Lamb, Jefferson, T. Higgins right there at number 3. So T. Higgins has been killing it. It's looking like an absolute steal. You go ahead.
Thing with like the rookie receivers is that some of these guys have a lot better opportunity to shine. I mean, DK Metcalf is phenomenal, but he comes into a system where Lockett's already running down the field and he has Russell Wilson who, can extend plays and get that deep ball out to him. Some people come into the NFL and are in very, very great situations. For example, Denzel Mims comes to the Jets. Even though he's hurt, he's in a shitty situation.
Absolutely.
Some guys have to get covered by, number 1 corners where, Tre'Davious White, for example, if you're playing the Bills, Denzel Mims might get covered by White because they might not have another receiver that can do well. Crowder's in the slot stuff. T. Higgins, for example, has been coming in and playing consistently every week where, AJ Green's not their number 1. John Ross wants a trade. He wants out. Auden Tate's a gone. Auden Tate barely even plays. You don't know where he is. So it's one of those things that, like, besides Tyler Boyd, they've been looking for that outside threat to really pretty much replace AJ Green. And Higgins has done that every week and is getting good coverage against him. So I think he's been really the most impressive non-first round rookie receivers. And, like, for example, Chase Claypool has all those receivers around him. So he's going to get maybe a weaker coverage, but he's been great, obviously. But I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And I mean, T. Higgins just been killing it. I was thinking of something. I forgot what I was going to say, but it was about Denzel Mims and the New York Jets. A bit off topic, but obviously, we didn't have a show last week, and Le'Veon Bell got cut and then signed with the Chiefs. And I want to get your thoughts on that really quickly.
I'm so mad because I swear, I'm not even just saying this. I was going to say the Chiefs, and this because I had Fournette. Remember, like, weeks ago, I was like, I thought the Chiefs were going to sign Fournette. So it was the same thing, plug in, where I was like, I think, Darrell Williams – none of these guys are okay. They're good enough to be on the roster, but they really need someone that go alongside Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They didn't really need, but to probably take them over the edge to go back to back. Le'Veon Bell, he takes a lot off of Mahomes, but what he really is so dynamic is he catches the ball out that backfield, what he did in Pittsburgh, what they didn't do in New York at all. I think he's going to thrive there, to be honest, because it's not that bold a prediction, but he's going to really, really, really thrive there. And he's going to make once again, make Adam Gase and the Jets, but Adam Gase looked so stupid.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm totally with you on that. And I've been saying, like, I think the reason why they brought him in, it's pretty obvious. Clyde Edwards-Helaire he was kind of struggling those first few games besides the Houston game. And Le'Veon comes in, he balls out. I don't think they had to do anything with Le'Veon because Le'Veon was in the facility, but they were hoping to go Damien Williams and Clyde Edwards-Helaire as a 1-2 punch. They wanted that 1-2 punch.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Damien Williams,
they needed to replace him.
Yeah, they needed a replacement. He opted out for a reason. So I think Le'Veon Bell, that's a phenomenal addition. You get him on a cheap 1-year deal. They have a great O-line in Kansas City, I should say. So, I mean, Le'Veon needed O-line. He needed the opportunity to work in a high-octane offense, which happened in Pittsburgh. Did not happen in New York. And, I mean, if he's thriving there, I mean, you could, like Adam Gase, as you just said, he already looks like a clown. He's going to look like the entire circus if that happens. So.
And exactly. And you mentioned Damien Williams. Damien Williams, don't forget, was on Adam Gase's roster in 2016 that had all these, Kenyon Drakes, all these type of players that were really solid that thrived after him. But, Andy Reid took Damien Williams from a random fifth-string running back to a Super Bowl, multi-scorer in the Super Bowl. I'm sorry to say that against the 49ers, but it's just – I can only imagine what he's going to do with Bell. So it's crazy that it happened, but yeah.
I mean, at this point, you can make a whole offense of Adam Gase's players that have like just succeeded elsewhere. Ryan Tannehill as their starting quarterback, Damien Williams as their running back, or Kenyon Drake. I'm not going to put Kenyon Drake yet because he's kind of struggled, but he did ball out against Dallas. Devontae Parker at receiver. I mean, I can go on and on. There's a ton of other guys that I can't think of from the top of my head. But man, Adam Gase, Robbie Anderson, that's definitely a good one to put there. Robbie Anderson, I mean, balling out in Carolina right now. So yeah, man. I mean, Adam Gase, man, it's just looking. It's the situation. Jets fans, I'm just so sorry for you. That's all I really gotta say. And let's just put more pain on the Jets right now and talk about the Jets game against Adam Gase's former team, the Miami Dolphins, where the Miami Dolphins shut out the New York Jets. And the Miami Dolphins, man. Are they 4-2 or Or they're 3
They're
and 3
3 and 3.
3 and 3. They're
3.
playing like a 4-2 team. I mean, after they beat the Niners week 5, I mean, I was like, okay, yeah, this team is pretty good. But yeah, man, 24-0. That's a blowout win against a division opponent. It doesn't matter if it's the Jets. It doesn't matter if it's the 2017 Browns. It's still a big win, big statement being made. And Miami, man, the future is bright in Miami right now. But the one thing that came out of the game that everyone's talking about now, Tua Tagovailoa has been named starter for the Week 8 matchup. They're on a bye this week. The Week 8 matchup against, I believe, the Los Angeles Rams. So I got to ask you, what do you feel about it? Because right now I disagree with it. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with it fully, but it just seems a bit perplexing considering that Ryan Fitzpatrick has been absolutely balling out this year, and now you replace him. It doesn't make too much sense to me, but I want to hear your thoughts on that.
So, decision-wise, I understand it because you drafted the guy. Obviously, you want to get him on the field. But my gut feeling is I don't agree with the decision just because I don't think it was the right time yet. I think something was building.
I'm with you on that.
I think they had something going here with Fitzmagic where you just blow out. I get it was the Jets, but you just completely dominate 2 straight 4:00 games against the Niners and Jets where it's like, and they go out on Thursday night and destroy, they beat up the Jaguars bad where it's like, we kind of want to see what it's like one of those things where it's like, they put in Tua and Tua lights it up immediately. It's going to look great, but this could really backfire if he comes out and gets, the offensive line doesn't block for him. I don't know. Aaron Donald's week, the first game, I get it's a bye week, but I don't know. I don't love that. I don't know. I think for Fitzmagic's sake, just watching his whole career, I really wanted this to be like one last shot at him. And people make it like he's this real old man. Like he's old, don't get me wrong, but like he's the same age as Aaron Rodgers. Like he came in the league the same year. He's 37 years old. Like he's not that old. Like he's old, but like the dude's running over 50 yards pretty much every game. Like he's still athletic. He's not turning the ball over that much. And he can show that he can pass. With that last year was a train wreck. He had no line. He got sacked. He got sacked 40 times last year, had Josh Rosen staring over his shoulder. We all know he's a great team and everything, but this is one that I felt like he could have gave it a couple more weeks and then like put Tua in or just like let this ride and see what happens. But it is what it is, and if it works out for them, they look great, and that's why they drafted him. But with the guy coming from a hip surgery against Aaron Donald the week 1, against the guy who they just lost their left tackle, line could be shaky. I don't know. I don't love it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I knew Tua was going to come in eventually. It does seem a bit early. Yeah, I understand it. It doesn't seem. I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick's been playing out of his mind right now. So I mean, he's been looking good. But I think the one thing you got to credit is just give credit to Fitzpatrick because he's been such a good teammate throughout this process. Like he's trying to hand the reins to Tua Tagovailoa with ease right now. Like he's not saying like, this is my job. He's saying, hey, I know this is going to be your job. I know I'm on a short leash. Let's ease you in to this position. And he's done that. And I think they have the confidence now. They must have the confidence now to put him in there because of Fitzpatrick. So Miami Dolphins fans, whenever Fitzpatrick leaves the team, because he probably will, he deserves a standing ovation next time he returns to Miami or his last game. You're
completely right. I feel the two most underappreciated people in the last decade in football is Fitzmagic and Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's dealt with Antonio Brown. He's dealt with we'll talk about Steelers and I'll talk about that, but like Ryan Fitzmagic, I mean, he had to do the Jameis Winston situation. He almost took the Jets to the playoffs. He threw a fade week 16 to Eric Decker. They were about to make the playoffs. Like there's so many different times this has happened, and I get you can't put him in for a full season, but I salute the man, and I really wish he had one last shot. But I hope Tua. And the last thing to say with Tua is I really hope he balls out. I think he's gonna be a great quarterback. I've never seen a fan base get so, honestly, even if it wasn't a full crowd, get so excited for a quarterback entering a game for the first time. Like I get,
yeah, I know.
Like I've seen some other times where like the quarterback finally gets in and people get pumped, but it looked like it was like. He's going to save it. He's going to save the franchise, and I'm happy if that happens because it really. I've never seen the Dolphins fan base that excited since watching them, so I'm pumped to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're talking right now about one of the quickest rebuilds in NFL history right now. I mean, the Dolphins have turned around just like that with the snap of the finger, the blink of the eye. So, I mean, it's looking really good right now. But yeah, do you have anything else to say about the game?
I turned the game on because it was the only game on with the Packer game on. I flipped the channel and I literally turned it on, and Joe Flacco got sacked for 27 yards. That play, I turned it on. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. Like, and it was the second longest sack in NFL history.
Yeah, I mean, that just sums up the Jets season right there. So, yeah, man. But hey, you mentioned Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the most underappreciated guys. We got to mention Joe Thomas as well. That dude suffered so much losing. And Joe Thomas for sure.
3. Yeah, I knew there was
definitely top 3. And that leads into a perfect transition. Joe Thomas was a Brown, Mike Tomlin on the Steelers. The Browns and Steelers game where the Browns just got flat out exposed, man. And I'm not leaving the Browns train yet because personally I do think the Browns are still a good team. But man, that was just an ugly, ugly loss for the Cleveland Browns, and they gotta fix their shit. So
the Browns are exactly what I thought they were. I mean, they're to me like a 9 to 10 win, pretty good team. But when you go against the Steelers, I always feel like they got their number, and
the Ravens too.
Nick Chubb being out really does expose them where they got to rely on Baker. And I've just never been a big Baker fan. So I always thought I was hard on him, but now I really think that he's holding them back. I seriously believe that this is a team that can compete for a Super Bowl. He's holding them back. I think coaching, there was a lot of things that had to do with some excuses you can make around it, but I think they finally have the right coaching there to really be a good football team, and Baker's really holding them back. There's certain games where Odell Beckham looks like the greatest football player in the world, and then there's certain games where he catches the ball one time, gets targeted 3, and so does Landry, and it's what's going on here? And
I know it's ridiculous.
I don't see this team getting far because of Baker, and it's just gonna go once you go up against the Steelers. And Mike Tomlin, I mean, like I said, dealing with Juju, dealing with so much, the Le'Veon Bell contract holdout, Big Ben injuries, so many things throughout the years, franchise players retiring. He keeps picking up the pieces. The organization's great, they draft well and everything, but they're such a solid football team. They don't have many question marks. They lose Devin Bush, but I really like what I've seen from the Steelers team.
Yeah, definitely. Devin Bush, man, that's a huge loss for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's going to be very interesting to see how that affects them. But, I mean, I said it at the beginning of the year. Pittsburgh Steelers, second best record in the AFC behind the Baltimore Ravens. And right now they're tied for the best with the Tennessee Titans. So, I mean, I told y'all they were going to be a good team. They're balling out right now, looking like a good team. But, yeah, man, Pittsburgh just killing it right now. I got to ask about the Baker situation. Would you say they move on from them at the end of the season if they don't think he's their guy? Or do they give him another year?
I'm going to say if it keeps showing how it does, I'm going to say yeah. As in, if it really comes to the point where it's shown out of these next 10 games where – all right, Baker's really just not good. They're going to have to look elsewhere at some point. There's too much talent here. All the pieces are here where you got to look elsewhere at that point. We're talking about Sam Darnold. Josh Rosen's already been traded. Josh Rosen's already been traded twice. He's been on 3 different teams. It's you got to show that you can be a winner in a league. And he just keeps having that rah mentality he has, shown that he's this leader and stuff. It doesn't work when you're not winning and when you're not throwing the ball out. No one's going to listen to you when you don't throw the ball over 250 yards one time this season. So, yeah, I don't like what I see there in an offense with an offensive coach that made Kirk Cousins look like a superstar last year.
Yeah, I mean, Baker Mayfield, man, he's definitely struggling. Do they move on for him? That's a tough question because I believe Stefanski was there in Minnesota in 2018 when Kirk Cousins looked like a terrible quarterback. So, I mean, I could be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure that was the case. But, I mean, and then he made Kirk Cousins look good in 2019. But I feel like something that I think is going to happen is they're going to keep him on the team, but they're going to decline his 5th-year option, say this is a make it or break it year in 2021. I think that's the way they're going to go because they can't really wait any longer. Also, I would not be surprised if a quarterback for that team was drafted somewhere round 2, round 3, get that backup in place, ready to go in, especially if he's not ready. Or maybe you just trade for a guy like Sam Darnold because he could be ready. Maybe it's the Adam Gase case again that we were just talking about with Devontae Parker, all those guys, Ryan Tannehill. It's definitely going to be interesting to see what they do with Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Sam Darnold, that would be a great fit there because, I mean, he was with Todd Bowles, who was with a one and done coach, I believe. And now he's with Adam Gase, who has looked one of the worst coaches in NFL history right now. So that could be a very valuable option for the Cleveland Browns if they want to move on from Baker Mayfield. But I do think they're just going to keep him on the short leash, say, hey, make it or break it year. No fifth-year option for you. Prove it to us that you're the franchise QB.
I feel like most likely that's going to be the case. I'm just kind of going bold here and thinking if he really just shows he stinks and the whole fan base is like, yo, he stinks, and they just keep turning on the TV and seeing him on Hulu like has live sports and just keep seeing him over and over again on commercial, you're going to get sick of him. And I think it's to the point where like people forget John Dorsey made this pick. Like John Dorsey was the one who went bold here and drafted him first. He's no longer in the building where he could easily move on from him and draft Justin Fields next year in the draft and move up and have you don't know what can happen in this draft. So I don't know. I think anything's on the table if he stinks, but most likely he'll get that, what you said.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this quarterback class is very deep. You got guys like Zach Wilson out of BYU, who has looked like a really good prospect.
Yeah.
Trey Lance, one of my favorite quarterback prospects.
I love Trey Lance.
I put Trey Lance ahead of Justin Fields. I personally, I don't think Justin Fields is going to do that well in the NFL. I like Trey Lance over Justin Fields, hands down. Give me Trey Lance any day. It's a bold take, but right there, Mac Jones has been balling out for Alabama. There's a ton of other quarterbacks. Yeah, him too. Trask. I don't know. I mean, Trask could be okay. I'm not that high on him. But
he's just in that circle. People bring it up.
Man. Yeah. It's a very, very deep quarterback class. So you could see teams like the Cleveland Browns take a guy right there. The Niners could take a guy right there. I feel like Shanahan's play calling has not surrounded Jimmy G, which we'll get into in a minute because I got a lot to say about that, obviously. But it's a very deep quarterback class. So you could see Baker Mayfield's replacement come into Cleveland this offseason for sure. Yeah, for sure. All right, let's move on to the next game. Let's go. Let's stick in the NFC North. And this is the part where I kind of put in the title, the NFC least. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Baltimore Ravens, man. The Philadelphia Eagles, man, I don't know what to say. I mean, they've been all the injuries, yes, but I feel like Doug Peterson, that coaching performance was pretty bad from what I didn't fully pay attention to the game, but everyone said that Doug Peterson's coaching performance was god awful.
Yeah, it's I don't know. That division's so bad, man.
I know, it's ridiculous.
Injuries are hampering them. I think at this point with the Eagles, from what I see from this season, at least they didn't get blown out by the Ravens. They hung in there. I think this Thursday night game is going to be a real test for them where, they have the Giants and it's a crappy division, but it's still they're a half game out, or something like that in division from that tie. So if they come out and win, I think the Eagles will be back on having a shot. But I mean, I don't like the team. I don't think they have a great, I don't like what I see from the team at all. Travis Fulgham, Packers cut. Hate to see that because the Packers cut him right before the season, and I was like, yo, this guy's gonna be he reminded me of Alan Lazard. I thought he was gonna be really solid, and they cut him, and now he's a star in freaking Philly. But
yeah, man.
Yeah, Lamar. I think Lamar is one. I gotta, Lamar's. I've always been I'm a huge Lamar fan. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
I think
for sure.
I think just being a fan of them and still because he won the MVP, he still needs some criticism. Where I know he's been a little injured and a little banged up, but he hasn't been great so far this season. He's had a little bit of accuracy problems. His legs have been kind of saving him a little bit, but that offense got to take that next step to really want to show out against the teams because they did get exposed against Kansas City. And I want to see them against Pittsburgh off the bye come out and beat them because I think that's a big statement game for the Baltimore Ravens coming up.
Absolutely. That's a very big game, the next game for the Baltimore Ravens. But I want to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles a little bit. Two things I got to say about them. First, let's go with waiver wire right now. Boston Scott. Miles Sanders is going to be out for a bit.
I have the number one waiver wire. I take Boston, right?
If you have number one waiver wire, take him. I'm not using a waiver claim this week. I don't really need a guy like Boston Scott right away.
Bye week. Like I have both my running backs, Jonathan Taylor and Gaskin are on a bye. And
both on buys.
Christian
Yeah.
McCaffrey's out, like again. So I literally need to pick him up.
Yeah, I mean, my running back situation it's not the best. I have David Johnson, Melvin Gordon, Devontae Freeman, and then I have Le'Veon. I had Le'Veon, so I just stashed him on my team. We'll see how he does. But personally, I'm all good at running back. I'm not gonna take a guy like Boston Scott, but Mike Davis, I picked him up. I mean, thank you, Mike Davis, for helping me out.
Yeah,
actually, surprisingly, I mean, he did a good job, but my team went 0-2 when he was on my team, which kind of sucked. But I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, that's one guy to pick up. Travis Fulgham, as you just mentioned, another guy to pick up. Also, tight end Zach Ertz is going to be out. I don't even know who their third string tight end is because Goddard's out too. So, I mean, that's
former Packer Richard Rodgers who called
Richard Rodgers. Yes, the Hail Mary guy. That could be a guy to pick up. I know they kind of use the tight ends a little bit on and off, but
Jason Kroom's kind of interesting. He scored a touchdown. They probably are going to use him.
Yeah, they could use. I mean, the Eagles team is just like I complain about the Niners injuries. I mean, the Eagles injuries, let's be real, they're a lot worse than the 49ers injuries. So, yeah, man, it's a tough situation in Philly, but hopefully they can get their stuff together. Baltimore, on the other hand, yeah, as you said, that Week 8 game against Pittsburgh is going to be a fantastic game. Also, just want to bring it up. You talked about the Thursday night game against the Giants. Although on paper that looks like a terrible, terrible game, let's be real. All NFC East games are going to be some of the most important games this week. Yeah. Not for how good the game is, but because one of those teams is hosting a playoff game, whether you like it or not. So it's going to be very interesting to see who wins that division. It's going to be a bloodbath. And honestly, at this point, any team could come out of that division.
Now, I got a question based off of strategy with the NFC East, with the new playoff format. So where the Packers are standing right now, they're not winning the division. They're not in first with Chicago leading the division. So they have an extra win. So right now the Packers are the 5 seed, and they would have been the 2 or the 1 if they didn't lose. So with the 5, they play the NFC East winner, and they got to go there, obviously. But if they didn't, like, say they were the 2 seed, they wouldn't have had a bye either way. They would now have to play the hottest team in the wild card team. So I don't know if, I don't know if a team's going to try and forcefully not win their division, but it's an interesting thing to look at where, you can either play, Philly or Dallas week 1 of the playoffs, or you can play, New Orleans might be someone like that, or Arizona could be like the 7th seed, and that could be a tough game week 1. So I think that's something to keep an eye on because you're not going to get that bye now.
If you were the 2 seed, you would be hosting the New Orleans Saints right now. So, I mean, yeah, that is definitely going to be something to watch out for right now. So right now, the current playoff standings for the NFC stand at Cowboys 1. No, not all right. So Seahawks 1, Bears 2, Bucks 3, Cowboys 4. The wild card is Rams, Cardinals, Saints. Packers, Rams, Cardinals. But if the okay, so you would play the Rams or the Cardinals, not the Saints. Excuse me. The Saints are currently out of the playoff picture.
Either way, though, Rams, Cardinals,
still,
Saints, they're all good.
Yeah,
teams.
I mean, it's going to be a lot easier to play that NFC East team in that 5 seed. So that's definitely going to be a very interesting strategy that teams may use. I mean, let's be. I mean. I was going to say, like, if there's a game for like the 3 seed in the division on week 17, I would want to lose the 2 seed or something like that, or the loser gets the 5 seed. I want to lose that game, especially if we're playing a hot team in the league right now. Cause I mean, yeah, I mean, you're basically going to the division round no matter what. Well, the other team's going to have a bit more of a challenge, even though they're home. So it's going to be very interesting to see the strategy that people use. So yeah, for sure. All right, moving on. Let's move on to the Falcons and the Vikings. And the Falcons finally got a win. Teams who fire their head coaches are 2-0 now with the win. Once they fire their head coach. But still, man, I'm not believing the Falcons at all. This team is still hot garbage. We've heard rumors about Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, which personally I'm not buying right now. Matt Ryan maybe. Julio Jones, I don't know why. I don't see why they would trade him just yet. I think you would want to wait until the offseason to do that. Alex Mack could be another name. I know the 49ers and Alex Mack talks have been heating up because Ben Garland and Weston Richburg are going to be out for a while. So that might be a good addition for the Niners. But with the trade deadline approaching, man, the Falcons, they're going to be a team to watch.
I hate that team, man. They're just like
they
officially broken my brain. Where like I keep thinking they're gonna win, and then I keep taking them. So I was finally like, all right, the Vikings can win this, and then I'm like, oh, like this is
it didn't work out.
If you gave me all the money in the world, I wouldn't predict a Falcons game, right? Like that was like one of the only games I got wrong predicting, and I was just like, dude, I'm never getting it right. Like once they fired Dan Quinn, I'm like, they'll probably win. But the Vikings seemed like they're gonna. I don't know. They're so hard to follow. I don't think Julio will be there next year for sure. Like I don't think he's gonna be on their roster next year. I think when you have a new GM, you're seeing the looking at the salary cap and everything. I think you're gonna see that you can move Julio Jones and get a nice return from him at some point. And you're seeing receivers. Stephon Diggs gets traded. I know these guys are way younger, and you might get better returns or not. But you're seeing players get traded, receivers get traded to other teams, and they're productive right off the bat.
Exactly.
DeAndre Hopkins looks solid in Arizona. Stephon Diggs looks solid in Buffalo. Amari Cooper looks solid in Dallas. Like these guys were on other teams, get traded, move on. Robbie Anderson. So it's like, receivers is a position where you can adjust and go to another team. So I think there's going to be a team that's desperate for a Julio Jones that will, like I want to save my job. Let's go trade for Julio and see what happens. Like the Philadelphia Eagles are a type of team. I would see them come calling.
I would not be surprised if that happens right there. Julio Jones this offseason. You made a great point. A new GM is not going to make that many moves during a trade deadline because he's an interim GM. I've never seen an interim GM made a big move during the season.
Maybe their first year, sometimes even their first year, they don't make the move either.
It
either wait to their
never
second
happens.
year too. Yeah.
Yeah, it almost never happens. Usually first year GMs just kind of chill, see how the team's doing, see where they want to go, just take it easy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but GM's tenure, you're going to see 3 years minimum for a GM, and that still almost never happens. So, yeah, I think unless you're the Cleveland Browns, then that's a different story. But I
think that's the reason, honestly, be really honest. That's why I think Adam Gase still has a job. I don't think Joe Douglas really thinks he's the head coach or head coach material. I think it's at the point where he's like, I want to see who's good on the team, assess the roster. Adam Gase already knows the players, and he doesn't want to create such a pandemonium of who am I going to hire as the interim GM? Interim coach. He almost wants to use Adam Gase's season as the blame guy. You lose, Sam has a bad game. Oh, it's Adam's fault. Where I think he's going to just, no matter what, he's going to be gone after this year. But I think that's why they're not firing him right now. I think they're just continuously using him as the blame guy. He's going to make the move after the season, or, it could happen drastically. But I think he would have made the move by now. They're pathetic.
Yeah, absolutely. You're never going to see that many moves, especially as I said, from a new GM. But that could be a smart idea with Joe Douglas. And I know NFL Update tweeted this out when they cut Le'Veon. Joe Douglas has a vision with this team, and I agree with that. Honestly, yes, it's his moves have been questionable so far, but he has a vision with this team and sees what he wants to do. Le'Veon did not produce in New York. He's not doing well on this team. Might be time for him to move on. Robbie Anderson did not really produce in New York. He might not be good for this team. Time to move on. So I think he definitely has a vision to see where the New York Jets are going, because right now they're in full rebuild mode. So he's going to want to see who's good on this team, who's part of this rebuild, and how do we rebuild. So that's that's definitely a good idea. But also, we were talking back to the Falcons game. We didn't mention the Minnesota Vikings. I had them as a playoff team. They haven't done well so far. Yes, their schedule has been fairly hard, but still, man, it kind of sucks to see the Vikings in this situation. Kirk Cousins, man, he's been playing god-awful.
They were one of those teams last year. I didn't understand how they were a playoff team, and I know they were Dalvin Cook, Diggs, Thielen, but it's still they kind of seemed lucky sometimes where they would win some close games right at the end, and it's still – I don't know. They had some holes on their team that I feel are starting to get exposed now. That's a couple guys left in the offseason. I don't know. I don't really – the thing to me is I don't love their coaching staff. I'm not a huge Zimmer guy as a head coach. I think he's a good defensive mind, but I don't think he's the best coach right now. I think he's I'm not a huge fan of his head coaching, and I think he had his opportunities, and it's kind of like I don't see that team getting better in progressing. I think they're going to have to move on from him soon, but they just gave him an extension in like July, so we'll see how that works.
Yeah, and I also said that Kevin Stefanski, that loss was going to hurt them a lot, and it has. It's shown, right? I mean, it definitely shown with Kirk Cousins. I mean, yes, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen have been playing stellar so far, but Kirk Cousins has not really, and that's the big problem. And I think Stefanski, I mean, yes, it's a run-first offense, but he definitely helped Kirk Cousins in Minnesota succeed, and he has not looked good right now. So
Kirk Cousins could be a guy who might not be the quarterback there next year.
That might be another thing. Yeah, I mean, again, we talked about deep quarterback draft class, so they could move on from him. They have a pretty young team. They've really revamped their defense with a lot of young players. They lost some of the key veterans on their team, revamped their D with a lot of young players, mainly in the defensive backs, and Justin Jefferson at wide receiver. You also got Irv Smith at tight end in his second year. So that might be a sleeper team to watch to take a quarterback. This is a young team that could really just get a lot younger, maybe start like not tanking, but like kind of fall into the middle of the NFL where they're too bad to tank, but they're too good. They're too bad to make the playoffs, but they're too good to tank. They could fall into that soon and just have like a light tank, I guess you can say.
Yeah, I think they have. No, you're right. They have some like Danielle Hunter and Yannick Ngakoue. Like they have nice pieces there. Always Harrison Smith, Eric Hendricks. Like there's solid guys there. They drafted young corners, so like they have pieces there to do that rebuilding. But I don't think they're going to really have much of an opportunity really with Zimmer and Kirk Cousins going further.
Yeah, for sure. But that's all I gotta say for that game. You got anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right, perfect. Let's move on to the Lions and the Jaguars. This is a game that little to no people watched, but I gotta say, man, this game really had. I feel like the one thing that stuck out to me with this game was just fantasy implications and all the DeAndre Swift owners who held on to DeAndre Swift for all this time, waiting for him to break out. I knew he was going to break out. I tried to get him, but the guy who had him in my league was saying he's going to break out at some point as well, so I couldn't get him. But hey, man, this was the breakout game coming out party for the Detroit Lions. I'm glad to see DeAndre Swift succeeding on this team.
Yeah, I thought this was actually going to be his breakout game. I picked him in my DraftKings lineup.
There you go.
He had Jacksonville's defense can't stop anything on the run right now. I think DeAndre Swift was just getting underutilized. He should really be like their go-to guy. Adrian Peterson was just taking a lot of their carries. This is a game that I really thought Detroit was definitely going to win. Jacksonville, I think Jacksonville, you can't sleep on them with the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. They have one win, and it was very impressive from Indy, but they haven't won since. They have one more win than the Jets, so don't count them out yet. They're still a very bad football team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, man, Detroit, they're still – I mean, I said I had to go in the playoffs. They're not looking like that right now, and I keep blaming Patricia, but this is a game that I expected to see out of the Detroit Lions this year. I mean – yeah, it's against the Jaguars, but it's a win is a win is a win for the Lions. But as for the Jaguars, man, I had high hopes for a guy like Laviska Shenault this game. I had him in my DraftKings lineup. He kind of flopped, but waiver wire pickup this week. Keelan Cole, I don't know the percentage of him owned. I did start him against Miami, which I thought he was going to do really well. He only had 8-point-something points, which kind of sucked. But he has been looking stellar this year. I mean, It's definitely looking good for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's one of the bright spots on this team. Same with Laviska Shenault. So that is a guy that you should try to pick up in your leagues if you can.
Marvin Jones has been a huge disappointment this season.
Absolutely.
I don't know what's going on there. Hawkinson's starting to come along for a tight end standpoint. I think he's solid. You want to see him get some more catches, but I think Swift's got to start getting used more. Good win for the Lions, though. I got nothing else on this game.
Yeah, you're talking about Marvin Jones. I picked him up just as a safety pick, not on waivers, but as free agency. Completely flopped, cut him the next day. So, yeah, that's really all I got to say about Marvin Jones. But, yeah, he has not looked good. All right, anyways, let's move on to the Bears and the Panthers sticking in the NFC North. The 5-1 Bears, which kind of pains for me to that pains you to say for me to say that. But, anyways, man, the Bears, I mean, everyone doubted them this year. They've looked pretty good so far. And my question for you is, do you think this stops or do you think they keep rolling?
I thought they were going to win this game. I think they just matched up better than Carolina. Like This is another where Carolina, people are going to, I hate how like everything's so reactive in this league where, Chicago can lose two bad next games and they're 5-3 and everyone's be like, oh, the Bears are who we thought they were. It's one of those things where it's like they beat the Bucks a week ago and no one really cared. They thought it was kind of like an ugly win. Everyone kind of thought Brady was going to beat him at the end. And since Rodgers had a bad game against the Bucks, now everyone's like, oh, that was an amazing win. I think the Bears are a good football team. Like, they have a good defense. The whole question mark of the season was Mitch Trubisky. Like, Mitch Trubisky's not playing. I think Nick Foles is a pretty good quarterback. I mean, Bears fans, like, for their standpoint, like, I'd be happy. Like, they're 5-1. There's nothing to be mad about. I think, a lot of the question marks are being answered, but for high hopes, like, they're still, like, to me, like a pretty solid football playoff. Like, they went they went to the playoffs 2 years ago. That's the same type of team I see. Like, they're still a 10-win football team. Like, now, like, they've shown that Trubisky's, like, Foles can at least, be solid. He's not, like, turning the ball over. He's pretty good. But I haven't loved what I've seen from David Montgomery. Tariq Cohen, they haven't replaced him with another back. So I don't really love the run game right now. I'm not a huge fan of their O-line where they look good some games. But besides Allen Robinson, I think Mooney's been good, and I think Miller hasn't done much. Cole Kmet's finally coming out. I can't see Jimmy Graham just, keeping this up every single game this season.
I'm with you on that.
So I still think there's some concern there. But, the rookie Jalen Johnson's been phenomenal. Kyle Fuller's been phenomenal. Eddie Jackson's one of the best safeties in the NFL. Roquan Smith's finally looking like that all-pro elite safety, top 5 while they drafted him. Like, there's Akeem Hicks is a beast. Khalil Mack's dominating. Like, there's a lot of good football players on this team, and it's not.
Absolutely.
I feel like Carolina Panthers. They can beat a Falcons team that has had no wins, and it's not surprising to me that they lost to the Chicago team. Like, they're not a big run ground and pound team. They don't have Christian McCaffrey. Like, how much I think the Bears are a better football team. So I think the Panthers are a solid 7-9 win team this year. Make some noise. They're a future, but I think the Bears, will they keep this up? Like, yeah, they will. But, like, I don't see them going to a Super Bowl. And most of them,
I'm with you on that.
They might win a playoff game, but they're a good football team. I'll admit it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm totally with you on that. And I feel like I still think the Packers are going to win the division, but definitely I think the Bears could make a wild card spot. The only thing that does concern me is their upcoming schedule. And let's look at that right now. So next week they play the Rams. Then they play the Saints, Titans, Vikings, Packers, Lions, Texans, Vikings, Jaguars, Packers. That's 5 division games, the Saints and the Rams and the Titans. And then the Texans and Jaguars, we're not going to talk about too much, but that's 10 games. I'd say 8 out of 10 of those games are going to be pretty tough games for the Chicago Bears.
You got to also remember too, where people are going to start getting, start seeing the film on Nick Foles. Like, the film's going to be out on Nick Foles as a Bear. Like, he just became the starter. We haven't seen Foles go a full season and make the playoff run. He keeps coming in as the fill spot starter. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. But they're 5-1, and I'm not gonna be like a salty Packer fan and just keep harping on it. Like, they're 5 wins, good win for them.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, the Bears 5-1, definitely a great start for them. Puts them in a good position going into the rough part of the schedule. So it's definitely, I like what I'm seeing from the Bears right now, but I don't think they're going to keep it up at this rate. As for the Panthers, though, even though they lost, they've definitely exceeded my expectations so far. I had this team doing worse than Jacksonville at the beginning of the year, which was a bold prediction at the time because everyone thought Jacksonville was going to be the worst team. And the Panthers, man, they've been looking really good so far.
I mean, people forget, like, Teddy Bridgewater was a New York Jet. Like, Teddy,
I know.
He was supposed
like a preseason though.
Like,
but
with Adam Gase, like, he could have started. I don't know if
he wasn't with Adam Gase.
I wasn't with Adam Gase. It was a year before, but Sam Darnold was there, and a lot of people were talking that he looked great. They got a great return from him, but they didn't end up doing anything with that draft pick anyway. And it's pretty ironic to see them out there with at times Teddy Bridgewater's the quarterback, former Jet. Robbie Anderson's a former Jet. Matt Rule, they were going to hire him, but they hired Adam Gase. Trenton Cannon even fills in at running back, former Jet. Like, there's a lot of irony there where you see these former Jets or guys that the Jets passed on do well for a team that didn't have many expectations. Just shows like the lack of coaching there with Adam Gase. But Panthers, I really like what I've seen from like a building standpoint for sure, similar to the Dolphins.
Yeah, definitely. Panthers been looking really good, but Matt Rule, man, that looks like a good hire so far. So I like to see what the Panthers are doing, man. They've always been that like a fun team to watch.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good to see what the Carolina Panthers are doing right now. But yeah, that's all I got for that game. You got anything else? Perfect. Let's move on to the Tank Bowl in the NFC East, the Giants and the Washington football team. Close game, man. I don't have much to say about this game other than both of these teams are terrible. That's really all I got to say. There's nothing really stood out to me. Nothing really stood out to me.
The one thing that stood out to me was like the last play of the game. I agree. It was Riverboat,
going for 2.
Riverboat Ron going for 2. Like to me, that's a terrible call because you're going against a Giants team that couldn't score on you all game. Like, if the Giants get the ball and they don't move the ball, which probably was going to happen anyway, they're punting and giving you a chance to win. If worst case happens, you tie the game. Like, so did the Eagles anyway. So it's like, I think a tie, it's one of those things that just kick the extra point and see what happens. Like, if the Giants go downfield and score on you, like, no one saw it coming anyway. Like, I think it was a bad move by Riverboat Ron. Riverboat Ron out Riverboated himself, and that was a bad move.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was definitely a bad move. Credit to him for trusting the offense and doing that. But, in my opinion, definitely was not the best move to have. So, that's all I really got to say about that game. There wasn't much to say about that other than that play. So,
nope.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Last one of the morning games, the Broncos and the Patriots. Another low-scoring game, but the Broncos come out on top. That definitely surprised me. But, the Broncos, man, they look a lot better with Drew Lock at the helm, and it's definitely obvious. And, yes, they have a ton of injuries there. The Broncos, the Niners, and the Eagles, those are the 3 most injured teams. But I feel like out of all those teams, Denver's making the best of it. Like, you got the quarterback back. You're still like you're still 2-3, which not the best, but still, It's like, yeah, it's better.
No, yeah, I'm not off that Denver bandwagon. I'm still on it. Like I know they've had their problems, but you just said it. They're 2-3. It's an ugly 2-3, but they're right in the hunt. And that I think it gets undervalued sometimes when a good team plays with when they have a lot of adversity and lose a lot of players and they have to play the backups and the backups have to come in key spots throughout the regular season. Then the key players come back healthy and then it all comes together. I'm not saying that's going to happen with this Broncos team, but I could see where Drew Lock's already back. Then Von Miller could potentially, if they made a deep playoff run, but I don't know. I just think that what's happening here is I think Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler, once they're going to hit their strides with Lock, Melvin Gordon and Lindsey and everything starts coming. There's enough weapons still healthy here that I think they're going to be a team to watch out for. And I had the Patriots as a pick when I told you, but when it came down the game time, I was like, once Drew Lock became starter, everything, I was like, I could see the Broncos winning this game for sure. I was surprised they were an 8-point underdog.
Yeah, definitely. Denver looked good out there. Again, not much to say about this game. All the low-scoring games, there's never too much to say about. But one guy I want to talk about, waiver wire pickup, Tim Patrick. He's been looking really good these past 2 games with Courtland Sutton out. Now he looked good with Drew Lock. He did with Brett Rippon. Looked good with Drew Lock. So it definitely could be a sleeper waiver wire pickup to have on your team this week.
Tim Patrick has looked good for 2 years solid, straight. He's looked good with every quarterback they throw at him. I think, Tim Patrick's proven he's a solid receiver. So I agree with that. He's definitely a good receiver, and I'd go pick him up as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm totally with you on that. But yeah, again, kind of like the Giants game, pretty low scoring, not much to say other than the Broncos look pretty good. Yeah. Patriots got a big game against my Niners next week. That should be a fun one to watch. So
Jimmy G coming home.
Jimmy G coming home. Big game for me too, because I'm the only Niners fan in my family. Everyone else is a Patriots fan. There's definitely some family beef between that.
4-year rivalry every 4 years.
Every 4 years. Last time my first Niners game was Patriots-Niners in 2016, pouring rain. Had a good time, but we lost the game. 2012 when Kaepernick came into Foxborough and won. That was fun to watch. And now 2020. We'll have to see what happens there. But that's definitely going to be a good game to watch next week.
Those are always fun, those 4-year rivalries.
Yeah, absolutely. I always love to watch those games. So, yeah, for sure. All right, now to the bad news for you. The Packers and the Bucks, a blowout win for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They looked, I mean, that's why the people had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers doing so well this year. Yeah. And I mean, it was fun to see the Brady Gronk connection again coming back to life. But I mean, I'm really mad at myself because I had Ronald Jones in my DraftKings lineup saying this dude's going to do well, and I took him out at the last minute, and it just like backfired so badly for me. So yeah, man. I mean, Ronald Jones played a hell of a game. Definitely. I mean, the Bucs look good right now. That's really all you got to say. I said that the defensive side was really going to come out, and they have been doing that just like that. I said people are sleeping on the defense, overrating the offense. Defense has been balling out. Offense also has been balling out. Maybe the ratings were the same, what people were thinking. I wouldn't say that yet 100%, but this team is looking great all around, and the future is very bright in Tampa.
Yeah, so I think what a lot had to do with this game is, well, first of all, I'll throw the elephant in the room. After Rodgers discount double pump, that was pretty much the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
They 38 unanswered points, second most in NFL history. So, I mean, that was he pissed off the football gods, and whether he wants to admit it or not, I think that was maybe a little karma. But so
yeah, absolutely.
The game standpoint, I really think what happened was the Buccaneers defense, aka Levante David and Devin White, they really just came out and punched us in the mouth, where I don't think we've experienced that yet this season, where Demario Davis on the Saints was like, him and Eric Kendricks were like, they're really good, but I don't think we've seen it as like a tandem where they're just like all over the field and really killed us yet this year. And they just came out of nowhere and just really like caused a lot of issues. Aaron Jones, they took out of the game. They didn't kill them. It looked like the pass rush was a lot, but I really think it had to do with those linebackers are so fast and everything. Packers defense didn't show up. They made it look easy. Ronald Jones, Gronkowski even. I think it was just a bad game for the Packers. I would like to see them, when they play another team that's, good, like the Buccaneers, like good type of defense, even like a Bears team, just not lay an egg like they did with the 49ers and the Bucs. Like, if they're going to lose again, don't lose bad. I think it's good to lose early in the season, see what you did wrong. But I think it's just, it could have just been a bad game, but it sucked. It actually really sucked to get, don't get me wrong. Like,
yeah,
I think the Packers are going to win that game, and they come out 10-0, and they don't score, and it's 38-10.
Yeah, that must have been painful. I mean,
it was really painful, honestly.
As I said at the beginning of the show, you felt the way I felt against the Miami Dolphins last week, where just completely fell flat, just like that. But I mean, let's talk about Levante David, a guy that you mentioned, hands down the most underappreciated player of the 2010 decade. I mean, the dude's a beast, and nobody talks about him. Even with the Bucs going like being one of the most marketable teams right now, nobody's talked about Levante David. It's kind of ridiculous how underappreciated this guy is. So, I mean, let's just do a Levante David appreciation thing right here. Levante David, man, I mean, you've been balling out. I mean, that's really – I mean, he doesn't get any appreciation. So how about Gridiron Brawl give him some appreciation right there?
Yeah, they look good, man. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like, it's one of those things where it's like I picked the 49ers to win because it's like in the NFL is just so weird. But Packers are undefeated. Bucks are, have 2 losses, have question marks, and then they're 3-2. Now they're 4-2. Packers. But it's one of those things where it's like, you have a bad game one week, you have a good game in the next, where the 49ers get killed by the Dolphins, Rams, look like one of the better teams in the league, and then lose to the Niners, transition to the next game. Like, I don't have anything else to say on that Packer game. That was a tough loss. I hope they win next week.
I don't have anything else either.
But yeah, to transition like the 49ers, like it was a good win. Like, it's one of those things. It's like, it just seemed like the 49ers were going to come out and have a bounce back game. And it was good to see them do that against the Rams, big division win. So I hope that they do that again against New England next week, that for Jimmy G's sake. But what do you think about the game?
Definitely. I mean, yeah, definitely. We're talking about the Niners game right now.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Yeah, I missed the transition for some reason, but anyways, I mean, it was definitely a good game, fun to watch. But I'm still concerned with Robert Saleh and his play calling and the inability to adjust. But Yeah, I mean, it definitely is concerning when your defensive line, who everyone has praised for a while now, is not performing. It's a bit of concern when your secondary is like carrying the defense, because that's not how the Niners defense runs. So, I mean, this week, yes, a win is a win is a win, as I keep saying, but it didn't really show me too much. I still don't have the confidence in this defense to succeed yet. I will say that the secondary, they need to, if they keep that performance up, then this defense is back to that elite status right now. Jason Verrett, what a game from him. Emmanuel Mosley balling out, the safeties balling out. Richard Sherman's going to come back soon, so the cornerback 2 debate's going to be very interesting. And as for the offensive side, I mean, I got the George Kittle jersey right there off camera right now, but he is the best tight end in football. Did have the best game. He had all those drops, but still, man, balls out, performs when he needs to. Debo's back. The O-line stepped it up big time, which we needed badly. Aaron Donald held to nothing, asked who Debo Samuel was in the press conference, which just made him look like a clown. So, I mean, overall, great win for the Niners. As for the Rams side, I mean, Jared Goff, what a terrible game from him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were flat. One of those bad Rams games. I don't know. I don't know. It's one of those. The Rams are an interesting team. So, another bad game from similar to the Packers, maybe was something similar, where they just got punched in the mouth and just couldn't respond.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it could be a game like that. I mean, the Rams could fall off soon. I mean, they didn't make the playoffs last year. I had them finishing last in the division, but we'll see how the Rams schedule goes on. They played all 4 NFC East teams, so that could be something to watch right there. Their schedule is going to get a lot harder, just like ours. So, yeah, definitely, it's definitely going to be an interesting schedule to see how the Rams are going to keep going with this. Obviously, our schedule is a bit harder because we got to play the Packers and the Saints, whereas they got to play, I believe, the Panthers and who do they play? The Detroit Lions? No, the Bears. They play the Bears next week. So
yeah, Monday
night game. So going to be very intrigued. They play the Bucks. Oh yeah, they play the Bucks. So I mean, still that's still a tough schedule for the Rams. No one's talking about that because everyone's talking about how hard the Niners schedule is. Look at the Rams schedule, man. These are 2 teams. I gotta say, I think you could see a decline right here. Right now I said on my stream, 10-6 is the ceiling for the Niners, 6-10. I didn't talk about the Rams because my stream is really Niners related, but something around there for the Rams as well. But 4-2 to start the season for a Rams team that has been that struggled in 2019 and is hoping to rebound from that. It's a good start considering now you're entering the hard part of your schedule. So yeah, definitely. All right, I think that leads us into perfect segue. Speaking of the NFC East, the Cardinals and the Cowboys, NFC East, NFC West. Wow, the Cowboys are a terrible team. That's really all I got to say for that. I mean, the Cowboys, man, their defense is horrible. Their offense, I mean, yes, they had a good offense with Dak, but it's nowhere near compared with Andy Dalton, man. So, I mean, yeah, it's just a tough situation for the Cowboys. I mean, you saw that Cowboys fan at the end of the game crying just like that at the end of the game. I mean, yeah, that just sums up the Cowboys season right now. As for the Arizona Cardinals, 4-2 starting the NFC West. That's always something you want. As I said with the Rams, 4-2. I think Seattle's running away with the division at this point, but Rams, Cardinals especially, great places right now to be in.
I love watching this Cowboys team suck, to be honest.
Yeah, who doesn't, man?
Oh man, the fact that Jane Selter, NFL Network reporter, said that the locker room's already turning on Mike McCarthy. What did you expect? I can't believe they hired him. This team had so much talent, and to hire that doofus. I mean, the guy stinks. I mean, oh my God, oh man, Rodgers got so much shit heard so much shit for years that he was the problem. They're not getting along. He doesn't exactly what Jane Selter said today in her report is exactly Mike McCarthy. He doesn't adapt during the game. If they're down, he doesn't know what. If something's not working, he doesn't know how to change mid game.
He doesn't know how to make adjustments. The 49ers. I mean, it's exactly like the 49ers. Our defense cannot adjust with the injuries. We can't adjust to mobile quarterbacks, and we'll talk about that when we get into predictions if we have time for that. And I mean, Shanahan, he hasn't made adjustments when we're down late in games. So it's exactly the 49ers problem. And although, like, I mean, I'd say Robert Saleh could be out the door at the end of the year, but
it's
Kyle
crazy because
Shanahan,
he almost became a head coach.
I know it's ridiculous, but Kyle Shanahan, I mean, he has a good mindset. Mike McCarthy, on the other hand, he's just letting his offense do the work. Say, here you go, just do it. And I mean, he doesn't really have a good game plan, which is definitely concerning for Cowboys fans.
It's just he's just not the guy, man. Like I get he won that one Super Bowl, but it's just. He's not. I just trust me. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
it's so
I mean,
hard to like.
Packers fan, you know what he's
so,
like.
I just seen it all, and it's just like you can do. I know they can do better. I know they can do better, and it's just like they could do better, and it's just
Absolutely.
a shame.
I mean,
but to see it all come down though, and the fact that Mike McCarthy's faking like he's been watching film, like he's been sitting in his house watching film for the past year. He's the same coach. Bullshit. It's the same shit. Like, he wowed Jerry Jones in one interview and over a couple cocktails and slept over his house and got the job. Like, I don't know, man. It's weird, and I think it's weird, man.
Yeah, not to mention, this is a guy who really only cares about the offense. When your defense is shitting the bed every game, that should be a red flag, like a bright red flag, just glaring at you. And, I mean, he hasn't paid attention to this defense, doesn't really have a defensive game plan. Not to mention, no more Dak. Your offense is looking terrible now. So, I mean, yeah, man, the future is not bright in Dallas with Mike McCarthy there. So
yeah, it's just like the whole Super Bowl thing. Like we get it. You won the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers over so many years. It's like, what are we gonna go chase after Gary Kubiak? Like Gary Kubiak won a ring with Peyton Manning in Denver. Like, what are we gonna just keep chasing after him for a ring? Like to be a new coach? Like, new guys got to get opportunities. And like Eric Bieniemy's a perfect example. He deserves a shot. I mean, I've been saying for years, it's weird how he doesn't have a shot, but there's other guys out there. I think the Brian Dabble on the Buffalo Bills offense coordinator, he's a great offense coordinator. I think he's done so much with Josh Allen stuff. He did great at Alabama. I think he'd be a great coach. I think, these young mindsets where I don't think you're going to go wrong with them. And I think, I just don't see it with McCarthy. He's just not. I get you have Andy Dalton, and I get Ezekiel Elliott fumbled, and I get he didn't look great at points. But when you have that much talent on your offense, you got to make it work.
Absolutely, man. I mean, that's really all you can say about that. Yeah. I mean, I got nothing else to say for this game. You want to segue into the next game?
Yeah.
All right, sweet. So, last game of the week was the game that was supposed to be Thursday Night Football. The Chiefs and the Bills was a very hyped up matchup. Kind of lived up to the expectations. Kind of did it. It was kind of a meh game. I didn't really watch this game, if I'm being completely honest.
It was actually flip-flopped. The Bills game. This game was before.
Yeah, this game was before his flip-flop. I didn't watch this game too much. I don't know if you watched it that much, but if you want to start it off, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was saying this was the earlier Monday night game. The last day of the game was the Cowboys game. But the Chiefs won. This game was like, it was just the weather. The weather, it was a shame that the weather really put that much of an impact. It kind of dampened it, where Josh Allen and Mahomes had arguably two best arm strengths in the league, but they couldn't really let it sling because it was shitty weather, raining out. And Tyreek Hill has to go against Tre'Davious White, so you can't really see him do much. So Kelsey was, really had all of their receptions. McCole Hardman got shut out. Demarcus Robinson was good, but it was the Edwards-Helaire show. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was this whole game. It was, Buffalo. They kind of stopped Derrick Henry, but you got to also think this is a completely different type of running back. Matt Milano's out, so in the rain against a quick, shifty running back, I saw that was like a good matchup for Edwards-Helaire. I'm surprised that that shows the defense of Kansas City, that they were able to stop Devin Singletary, who was another quick, shifty back. So I think Kansas City's defense has been playing pretty solid this year, and I think there's really no concern with them there now that they have Le'Veon Bell. Like, this is a well-oiled machine. I think they're going to just keep winning games. Yeah, for sure. I mean, Le'Veon, it's good. As we said earlier, going to be very interesting to see how Le'Veon comes back and how he fits in this team. So that's going to be something very fun to watch. But again, I didn't really have time to watch this game. But overall, from what I've heard, the weather definitely impacted it, as you said. Not the best game, not the worst game, but yeah, man. I mean, it is what it is. I was hoping for a lot more for this game. I wish I could watch it a bit more. Obviously, I couldn't, but this definitely
look for this game in the playoffs. That could be something very interesting to watch. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I don't have anything else to say about that game. Do you?
No, I'm good.
All right, perfect. So do you have time to do predictions, or should we just tweet those out?
Yeah, we wrapped it. We rolled them real quick.
All right, let's just roll through the predictions real quick. So starting off with a Thursday night game, Giants, Eagles. Again, kind of a toss-up game. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles here. They're a lot more talented than this Giants team. Eagles win. It's a tough game to call, I know.
Yeah, I'm going to go Eagles here. It's you see Miles Sanders and Zach Ertz out, but like how much has Zach Ertz really been doing this year? I get he gets a lot of, good defenders are covering him. Miles Sanders is very solid, but I just saw this Eagles team last year on Thursday Night Football do the exact same thing to the Packers, where like Boston Scott like killed the Packers, and it was like a weird type of game where the Eagles won. And I can see the Eagles getting up and winning this one, where they've had a tough season and stuff. Giants are coming off a win, and I think that Philly's just he's a hungry dog. I think they're the hungry dog here. I think Philly wins a weird 17-13 win.
Yeah, it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna be that high scoring. Could be high scoring. I mean, both have terrible offenses. Both have pretty bad defenses. So we'll see how that goes. Let's move on to Bills and Jets. I don't need to say much. Bills win this game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's all I really need to say. That's really going to be like one of the only. There's a lot of shootouts this week, but that's going to be really the only game where I think there's an
Bills off
two. Right,
Bills off 2 straight losses. They're going to take out all their anger on them.
Absolutely, they want some vengeance. So we'll see how that goes. The Panthers and the Saints. I'm going to go. This could be a lot closer of a game, but the Saints coming off a bye. I'm going to go with New Orleans Saints here. It could be a lot closer than that. Maybe the Panthers win. I'm going to go with New Orleans Saints here, though. I think that's a safe pick.
Oh, man. I'm going to go Panthers because –
Panthers, you're going to take the upset.
I'm going to go Panthers just because I know the Saints are on a bye, but I just think Joe Brady, their offensive coordinator, former Saint offensive coordinator, Teddy Bridgewater, former Saints quarterback. I feel like there's a little bit of revenge game that they didn't, maybe they wanted to show that they were the guys. I think they both know this defense pretty well. I think Joe Brady's is going to have some stuff up his sleeve for this game. I think they're going to let it all out the tank without McCaffrey one more time. I think they're just going to let Teddy kind of sling it, and I think the Panthers will come out with the win here.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's definitely going to be a close game that a lot of people are expecting. I'm going to take the safe pick go with the New Orleans Saints. All right, Browns and Bengals. Bengals coming off a pretty good week. Browns not. This could be another close game. I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns here. I'm not giving up on them yet. Yes, they've lost their 2 losses have been blowouts, but I'm not giving up on the Cleveland Browns just yet.
Browns and who? Sorry,
Bengals.
All Browns, Bengals.
It's all good.
Yeah, I'm going Cincy here. I might regret that last pick. I could see Alvin Kamara having a field day on them. They might still win the game, but I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. But I'm going to go Cincinnati here. I think this is definitely could be the upset of the week here, where Joe Burrow loses already. It's what I don't know. What was the score of that game when they played a couple weeks ago?
It was high scoring. It was like, it might have been 35-30 or 40-35, something like that.
Yeah. So I think the Bengals played tough. They didn't have Geno Atkins. They had some other injuries, and I think the one thing that really killed them was Nick Chubb. Like, Kareem Hunt came in and did well, but Nick Chubb killed the Bengals without Geno Atkins. And now I'm thinking that the Bengals lost to them. Usually like the division, they might split throughout. I think the Bengals definitely win this one, and I think this is like a surefire like upset, and I'm going to put a confidence in this one. I don't know how I feel in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see the Bengals winning. I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns. Just stay safe for now, but we'll see. A lot of bold predictions coming from you, Pat, so we'll have to see how that holds up. Cowboys and the Washington football team. I mean, again, it's hard to see these games, like who's going to win, who's going to lose. I'm going to take the football team here, and it's mainly because of the Cowboys defense. I mean, yes, the Cowboys have Zeke. Yes, they have all the weapons, but let's be real. The Washington defense is pretty good, if you ask me. The Cowboys defense is not. as they say, defense wins championships. In this case, defense wins this game. I'm going to go Washington here.
Yeah, Washington on a short week. They have Dallas is on a short week. Washington's pass rush, obviously, you know the deal. But, Zach Martin just got a concussion, so they have literally no offensive line left.
Yeah,
and they're already beat up, and they're pissed off. And this seems like one of those games where, I was mentioning earlier, where we think this Cowboys suck like from the week before, so they come out and just dominate, and no one expects it. I'm gonna agree with you here, where I think Washington just lost a tough one. I think that their defense really is gonna give Andy Dalton and them a problem, and I think their offense. Dallas's defense has shown they can't stop anybody, and I think Washington's offense literally could do anything. And Antonio Gibson might have a huge game, so someone will do something. I think Washington will win. 27-21.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a very close game. Could be blowout too. We'll see against the NFC East. So most unpredictable division in football right now. Packers and Texans. The Packers are going to bounce back and win this game. It's in Houston, but after that game, the Packers, they're going to figure it out. They're going to bounce back. They're going to be like, oh shit, what happened? Let's get rolling. Let's get back on track. The Packers win this one. You want to say Texans, don't you?
I don't know, man. This Romeo Crennel is just this. I just saw it and I can't escape it. Once they said Romeo Crennel is the interim head coach, I was like, we play the Texans. So I'm going Texans here, and I hate to say it.
Texans.
I hate to say it because if I'm wrong, I'm not going to care. So I'm going Texans. So if I said it, at least I could say that I called it.
Packers fans just haunted by Romeo Crennel and the San Francisco 49ers. That's really it right now. Like the two people that just own them, or two like organizations or people that just own them. I think the
Packers are going to have one more bad loss to get people getting crazy again.
Yeah, people are going to – if the Packers lose this game, the media is just going to be in a firestorm.
I'm confident in the team. I don't know. I got bad feeling about Romeo.
Yeah, I'm with you on that too, but we'll see what happens. Lions and the Falcons. This could be a really good game right here. Oh, this could be a shootout, but Pat doesn't want to pick this.
If whatever I say is gonna be wrong, so just fade whatever I say. Well, you can go first.
I'll say the Detroit Lions. I'm gonna go with the Detroit Lions here.
I'm going Lions. I will refuse I refuse to pick them again. So I picked them literally I'm going Lions.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a close game. You could be very wrong on that, by the way. So. It might just be the curse of Pat picking the Falcons, something like that. But
if you're a Falcon fan, you better hope I pick against you, because I don't think I've ever got it right. I literally can't figure them out. I think realistically, this is going to be a really, really high scoring game, because I don't like either.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I don't like either defenses. I think Julio should have a big game. I think Ridley should have a big game. Galladay should have a big game. If you have anyone, start them up. So I think this is like the fantasy game of the week.
Yeah, definitely the fantasy game of the week. I have a lot of guys in my DraftKings lineup from both teams, but we didn't say on the show yet, so we'll say it again. As tradition, fire Matt Patricia. Mm-hmm. That's a great way to segue into our next game. The Steelers and the Titans. In my opinion, this is the game of the week. This is going to be a very close game. Oh, let's hear what you said. How about you go first?
Where is it being played?
It's in Tennessee.
Okay. I'm going to say Pittsburgh here. I'm going to say Pittsburgh. I think they could they can match up pretty well with Henry. Don't get me wrong. This is one that's tough to predict, but I think the Titans, people do. I like the Titans a lot, but people do forget, they got tested week 1 against Denver with Drew Lock, Monday Night Football. It definitely was a tough game. And they have been looking solid. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say they haven't been solid, but they could have totally just lost to the 1-5 Texans. They definitely could have just lost. But I think the Steelers have just shown that. I don't know if the Titans could stop all those weapons right now. I don't love their secondary. They have some injuries, so I'm going to go Steelers here.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I'm going to go the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's some injuries in the Titans and the Steelers, but I do think the Steelers are the better football team, and they're going to come out on top. So, yeah. All right, next game, the Seahawks and the Cardinals, a division game, a big division game to watch out for this week. It's in Arizona, but I think the Seahawks are going to keep rolling. I got Seattle win this game as much as it pains me to say that.
Arizona Cardinals win this game. Arizona
being
wins
bold this week.
Yeah, I'm being bold. I think Seahawks have trouble against Arizona. I think they also have trouble against running quarterbacks and Kyler Murray specifically. Brett Hundley, I believe could be wrong, but I'm almost positive upset them.
He did play them last year.
He upset them last year, and that was a big loss for them for like playoff seed. So they lost to Brett Hundley last year. This is a defense that doesn't have Clowney. It got worse. They're gonna get Jamal Adams back, but I think the Cardinals are a weird football team, man. I think they're gonna come out some games and they're gonna look great, and I think some games they're gonna get shut out. And I think Cliff Kingsbury, one thing he's shown is he's getting better and he keeps adapting here and there. And I think that Seattle, he's playing them enough. This is his fifth time now. I mean, like fourth time now playing them, something like that. So it's like he's played their D before. I think they're gonna come out and win this game.
Sorry about that. I had to do something real quick. But yeah, I got Seattle in this game. I mean, I think it's just a safe pick. Seattle's rolling right now. The Cardinals are rolling right now too, but I'm going to go Seattle and take the easy pick, easy way out. Chiefs and Broncos. I think Kansas City wins this game. I don't really see any way that Denver wins this game.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
I'm not going to get that bold. Yeah, I think Denver won a nice game last week. I think maybe if they were fully healthy, this would be a tough matchup for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Unless the Chiefs come out and, lay an egg like they did with the Raiders, I think they win this game, but I definitely go Chiefs here.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. So, all right, Jaguars and Chargers. This is going to be an interesting game, but I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Chargers here. It's in LA. They're coming off the bye. They look pretty good with Justin Herbert. Their defense looks great. I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Chargers over the Jacksonville Jaguars here.
Chargers definitely win here. Herbert hasn't won one yet. This is definitely it's definitely going to be like, it's one of those, like, this has to be your first victory in the NFL or there's problems.
Definitely. Absolutely.
He's going to get his first one here.
Yeah, definitely. Niners and Pats. I'm going to go with the Patriots here. The Niners have had struggles stopping mobile quarterbacks like Cam Newton, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson. Who else? There's a ton of other guys. Lamar Jackson was pretty hard to do. Carson Wentz, not a mobile quarterback, but we couldn't stop him when he was out of the pocket. And Robert Saleh's inability to adjust to mobile quarterbacks and with the guys he has right now has me thinking that the Patriots are going to win this game. Another close game right here. So this could be a coin flip.
It's in New England.
It's in New England. Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. It is tough, but I'm gonna go New England just because I can see them losing, but it's tough to fade Bill Belt on an awful loss. I think he really usually wins most of the time off a loss, so I'm gonna go New England here.
Yeah, not to mention, the dude's a genius at just figuring out teams.
He knows Jimmy.
He knows the Niners cannot stop mobile quarterbacks probably, so he's got something.
Beat Kyle Shanahan in the Super Bowl.
He is waiting to get something done. Last two games, Bucks, Raiders. Let's go through these really quickly because I gotta get going. I got the Bucks for the Sunday night game, even though it's in Las Vegas. This should be a very close game. I'm gonna go with the Bucks here. As for the Monday night game, I think the Rams rebound and get a win over the Chicago Bears. I like their defense still. I think it matches up great against the Chicago offense. So I'm going to go Bucks for Sunday night, Rams for Monday night.
I'm going to go opposite. I'm going to go Raiders.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go Raiders. I think this is one of those this is going to be a big victory for the Raiders. I think off a bye in Vegas, this is their first big primetime game. Tom Brady comes to town. John Gruden used to coach the Buccaneers. I think one of those, he wants to win against he always wants to win against the Bucs. It's a rare opportunity. The team he won that Super Bowl with, I think Derek Carr is going to have a big game here. I think the Raiders win this one. They stretch them deep with Ruggs, and I don't know. I see the Raiders win this one, and I think the Bears Rams is going to be like a pretty low scoring game. I'd say 20 to 13 Rams win.
Yeah. I said the Rams would win that game.
Oh, sorry,
too,
my
so-
bad. Yeah, Rams.
Yeah,
Rams.
but very two-sided. Definitely a lot of different predictions, but yeah. Anyways, you got anything else to say before we wrap this up?
No, I'm looking forward to another good week of football. Jimmy G coming home. Packers, hopefully they beat Romeo and I'm wrong. But yeah, I'm good. I'm ready to go. Big Giant Eagle game Thursday. So
yeah, for sure. This should be a fun week to watch. A lot of fun games, guys. So we'll be out there tweeting those games out. Make sure to follow us on Twitter right there, right here, and right there where Pat's name is. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to check out the brawlnetwork.com and all the Brawl Network podcasts, and we will see you guys next time. See ya.